It was just a normal day as Laura Watson walked her dog Jasper through the local neighborhood. Everything was going as usual, so she couldn't have guessed that everything would go wrong right outside her own home. As they neared the end of their walk, they looped back home. She was excited to make dinner. However, they would never reach the front door. As they approached, Laura could see her house nearing. But before they could reach her front door, she would have to walk past her neighbor. As she walked past his stretch of sidewalk, she caught sight of something. She couldn't understand why their trash had been put out. Garbage collection was only the following day. She didn't think too much of it, though. But that trash would turn out to be something significant. She noticed a strange odor coming from her neighbor's garbage, and suddenly Jasper seemed to think so too. His head cocked. The dog yanked her towards it. This wasn't normal behavior for Jasper. As he strained against his leash in the direction of the garbage can, he started barking nonstop. He also refused to obey Laura's efforts to calm him down. Jasper seemed to be determined to discover what was in the garbage. Laura struggled to justify it. Maybe the smell of some rats or rotting food was riling him up. It wasn't particularly weird behavior for a dog to be curious about garbage. But Laura trusted Jasper's instincts. He wouldn't have started barking at nothing. Soon she would find out the cause and everything would change. Laura became increasingly curious about what was going on. Was her neighbor concealing something in his trash can? As she approached it, she could hear a sound coming from inside the dumpster. It could be rats, maybe a raccoon. The rustling noises made her suspect that some kind of scavenger was searching for its next meal. She had no clue how far she was from the truth. Laura's pulse sped up as she caught sight of one of the trash bags moving. She was unsure of whether it was a good idea to get closer. It could be dangerous. But after some consideration, she realized she needed to tear the bag open and investigate its contents. There could be no turning back after she unleashed whatever the dumpster held. As she ripped the bag open, she quickly sprang backward to safety. Jasper, her loyal protector, jumped in front of her just as the streak of fur emerged from the dumpster. Laura gathered all her courage for whatever was about to happen, but what she discovered sent a chill up her spine. After unveiling her neighbor's secret, life changed forever. A loving mom, Laura Watson's family meant everything to her. Her precious daughter, Paige, was quickly growing up and always on the lookout for some new source of entertainment. For a while, Paige had been pleading with her mom for a new friend for her to play with. Laura knew that a four-legged sidekick would be the perfect addition to their family. Eventually, Laura and Jeremy, her husband, had a discussion about adding a pet to their household. It didn't take them long to agree that a puppy would be the ideal new friend for their little girl. Laura wanted to find the best possible canine companion for her daughter, so she began searching. Only a few weeks later, Paige's surprise had been arranged. After a visit to a local animal shelter, Laura had left with a wonderful furry friend for Paige. His name was Jasper, a beautiful, affectionate Labrador, and he was coming home to be part of their family. When Paige first saw Jasper, she was absolutely ecstatic. When she hugged him for the first time, her eyes were full of joy. The lab quickly became a loving and beloved family member. He was always there to cuddle with Paige, play fetch in the backyard, and even go on family walks with them. Laura was amazed at how quickly Jasper had become such an important part of their family. She loved seeing the bond that had formed between her daughter and their furry friend. Jasper had brought so much joy and happiness into their lives. Laura was grateful for the decision they had made to adopt him. As the years went by, Paige grew up and moved out of the house to start her own life. But Jasper remained a constant companion for Laura and Jeremy. They loved him just as much as Paige did and cherished the memories they had made together. In the end, Laura realized that adopting Jasper had been one of the best decisions she had ever made. He had brought so much happiness and love into their lives, and she knew that he would always hold a special place in their hearts. Jasper was now 13 years old, and he was showing his age. The dog had given the Watsons 10 good years of service. Paige was now studying in another state while her parents stayed behind. It was now Laura's job to look after Jasper. She didn't mind at all. In fact, she loved going on her daily walks with him. But she had no idea what they would find one day on one of their walks. Laura Watson, a kind-hearted and cheerful woman, was taking her beloved four-legged companion Jasper for their usual evening walk around the tranquil and friendly neighborhood. Laura and Jasper had a strong bond, and they always enjoyed exploring the picturesque surroundings together. The sun was setting slowly, painting the sky with a spectrum of warm colors, and the air was buzzing with the sounds of nature, making the walk a delightful experience. However, Laura had no idea that today's walk would be different. As they strolled along, she noticed that Jasper was wagging his tail more frantically than usual, as if sensing something was about to happen. Laura shrugged it off and continued walking, but then something unexpected occurred. When they were a few steps away from their house, a strange figure appeared out of nowhere, blocking their entrance. Laura felt a knot form in her stomach as she realized that things were not going as planned. Laura had been walking for a while and was now finally approaching her front door. However, as she got closer, she noticed that her neighbor had already put out their trash, even though the garbage collectors weren't scheduled to come until the next day. At first, she didn't think much of it and figured they must have made a mistake. But as she passed by, something caught her eye. She couldn't help but take a closer look. As she examined the trash, she noticed that there was a strange assortment of items, including ripped-up paper, empty food containers, and even a broken lamp. It was odd to see such an array of items in a single trash bag, and Laura couldn't help but wonder what could have led her neighbor to throw all these things away at once. Her initial thought was that perhaps they were cleaning out their home, but the fact that the garbage collectors weren't coming until the next day made her suspect there was something more to it. As Laura was walking her dog, Jasper, she noticed a strange odor wafting from her neighbor's trash can. It was an acrid smell, unlike anything she had smelled before. But what surprised her even more was how Jasper reacted to it. Normally, Jasper would sniff around for a bit and then move on, but this time he seemed fixated on the trash can. He cocked his head in its direction and began pulling Laura towards it. Laura tried to hold Jasper back, but he was insistent. He barked and whined as if trying to communicate something to her. She had never seen him act like this before, and it was beginning to worry her. Was there something dangerous lurking in the trash can? Had Jasper picked up on some kind of danger that she was oblivious to? Despite her misgivings, Laura felt a strange compulsion to investigate. She slowly approached the trash can, Jasper still barking and pulling her towards it. As she drew closer, she noticed a strange dark liquid seeping out of one of the bags. She recoiled in horror as the smell hit her full force. It was the smell of decay and rot. Suddenly, everything clicked into place. Jasper's strange behavior, the strange smell, the dark liquid seeping out of the bag. It could only mean one thing. There was something dead in that trash can, and something about it had deeply unsettled Jasper. Jasper, Laura's loyal and inquisitive canine companion, had become fixated on rummaging through the contents of the outdoor trash bin. Laura, perplexed by Jasper's unusual behavior, tried to rationalize his actions by assuming that it might be a scavenging rodent or decomposing scraps that had caught his attention. Despite the fact that it wasn't uncommon for dogs to be attracted to garbage, Laura had complete confidence in Jasper's instincts. She knew that he wouldn't have barked incessantly without a legitimate reason. However, once she uncovered the truth, it would undoubtedly prompt her to reevaluate her perception of Jasper's actions. As she made her way toward the trash can, she couldn't help but fixate on her neighbor's suspicious behavior. What could he possibly be trying to hide in there? As she approached, her ears pricked up at the sound of a faint rustling noise emanating from within the trash can. She strained her senses to try and identify the source of the sound. Was it rats or raccoons foraging around for scraps, or maybe something else entirely? The noise grew louder and more persistent as she got closer, and she could feel a sense of unease creeping up her spine. Slowly but surely, she inched her way toward the trash can, her curiosity piqued by the strange noise coming from within. Her heart pounding in her chest, she braced herself for what she was about to discover. Little did she know just how shocking and unexpected that discovery would turn out to be. Her heart began to race as she noticed something out of the ordinary. One of the black bags that were scattered around seemed to be moving, and she couldn't help but wonder what could be inside. Her mind was filled with the worst possible scenarios, and she hesitated for a moment, unsure of what to do. But the curiosity within her couldn't be contained, and she knew she had to take a closer look. She moved closer to the bag, her hands shaking as she reached out to rip it open, fully aware that whatever was inside might not be friendly. A sense of dread washed over her as she realized that there would be no going back once she provoked whatever was inside. She opened the bag and stepped back just in time. Jasper stood in front of her, ready to protect her, as a flash of fur jumped out of the trash bag. Laura was prepared for anything, but what she saw shocked her to the core. She had uncovered the neighbor's secret and knew that her life would never be the same again. With shaky hands, she opened the bag, and she couldn't believe what she saw. Inside of the bag was a puppy, whimpering and scared. Laura couldn't believe someone had thrown a helpless puppy in the trash. She immediately picked up the puppy and held it close to her chest, comforting it with soft words. Jasper, who had been barking nonstop, suddenly calmed down when he saw the puppy. He sniffed it and licked its face. She took the puppy to the vet to make sure it was healthy and then brought it home with her. But before going any further, she decided to confront her neighbor about the puppy. Laura marched straight to her neighbor. She was going to demand to know what was going on. How could her neighbor have done something like this? She knocked on the door, but the woman answered the door with a tear-stained face. "You found my puppy! I thought he had run away!" the old woman said, sobbing. Laura explained where she found her, and the neighbor was devastated. The puppy must have been playing in the black bag when she took out the trash. It was a freak accident, but thankfully no one was hurt.